Black people deserve representation in comic books. It doesn't matter if it's from DC, it doesn't matter if it's from Marvel, Image, Vault, Boom, doesn't matter if it's a creator-owned book. Black people deserve to have ongoing series as well as have their own comic books. It doesn't matter what company it is from. This argument has been going on for the past week or so because the creator of Impound Comics, Brent Sands, came out in a video and he said that DC and Marvel do not owe you representation. He said this in an effort to point you towards his comic books because he actually is giving people Black stories by Black people, and that was the point of what he was trying to say. The problem with what he was saying was it comes at a time where everyone was criticizing Marvel Comics and Marvel Entertainment for the recent sabotaging and cancellation of multiple different Black characters and Black projects. A lot of people weren't doing what I did. I sat down and was like, look, all these stories are important. Doesn't matter who they're from, all these stories are important. We need to hold DC and Marvel accountable. That way we can have progress. A lot of individuals came at it the wrong way and were just trying to bash what Brent Sands was saying, when in reality, he's trying to do the right thing and give people representation because he saw a problem and he kind of got tired of everyone telling him, if you want Black stories, just go make your own. I never had problem with what he is doing when it comes to being the owner of a comic publication. My problem with what he was saying was that it defeats the purpose of all the hard work that has gone on recently to get new Black projects at DC. I said this shortly after we got the announcement that we were getting 3 brand new titles from DC that were Black ongoings, that look, it doesn't matter if I had any factor in it, if the movement that I helped start had any factor in it. It does not matter if they were working on these books for a while, even before I said something. The problem was it took them 3 years to get us new projects that have Black ongoings. And the problem is, even if I didn't say something, they were still going to be lacking in PR. They're still not teaching people how sales work. And that is something that needed to be critiqued. And that is something that we still need to do, is critique these publishers and these studios that are not giving accurate portrayals of Black individuals. And we can still do all of that while also making our own content. And what's so funny about all this is I've been living my truth this entire time. I will continue to fight for representation, whether it be with the big two or elsewhere. I will help uplift Black indie creators. It does not matter. I did it before the campaign started. I did it during the campaign, as it still has been going on. And people have been kind of funny about it. They're like, look, JP, we're not talking about you. We know you're out here fighting the fight. We're talking about everybody else that isn't doing what you're doing. The problem with that logic is we can't just expect every person to hop on the Black indie bandwagon tomorrow. We have to actually get them on board. We have to put the resources in their hand. They have to be affordable. And that's been a big problem with big two comics as well, is that if the project isn't affordable, if the project isn't worth their time, they're not going to seek it out. And while, yes, we have made tremendous progress when it comes to this, we cannot just be mad at people who don't just immediately hop on the bandwagon and just be like, oh, you don't care about Black indie comics. It is going to take time to get people interested, especially when they're still looking at these big studios to be like, hey, I want to see my favorite superhero up alongside Iron Man and Captain America and such like that. And they shouldn't be shamed for that. That's why I said we can do both. No one is saying that we should just disregard Black indie comics entirely. I'm out here fighting the good fight. I'm trying to get people on board. I have an interview with Summit Comics who has Black characters in the forefront next week. Like literally, we just recorded the interview yesterday. I'm doing my best to put these books in front of people, but it takes time. And this social media revolution, when it comes to having things like comic book TikTok and comic book Instagram, this is new stuff. This is new stuff that we are working on, and it takes time to get people on board with these concepts. We've done better, but we need to do more. And I'm saying, as the person who's out here fighting the fight, we need to do more, and I need more people to be on board with that. The problem also comes in the fact that we finally got these titles from DC. What's gonna happen if we did all this hooting and hollering and trying to get people on board to help fight the fight? And yes, even if the boycott didn't work out, some people were willing to boycott them. What happens if we move to phase 3, which is going to be a whole push to pre-order and sell out, not just the issue 1s, but the issue 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, 7, and etc. What happens if nobody does that and we are back to square one with people saying nobody supports Black comic books? Like, how moronic would that be if we fought this fight and then we just go, oh, the first Black woman to have her own ongoing and it's written by an Eisner-nominated writer? We don't want to have that. We're not going to support that. Even though we fought for it, we're not going to support it. Oh, Static's getting a book? We're not going to support that. Even though we've wanted it for so long, we fought for the Dakota incident. We're not going to support that. Also, I keep seeing this and I want to nip this in the bud because I'm tired of seeing it. Just because we advocated for representation from the big studios and people are upset about what's been going on with Marvel does not mean anybody is begging, because that would mean anybody who has fought for representation and raised awareness about a problem was begging. Like, do you see how dumb that sounds? Let's Cut that out. Also, I know a lot of people are going to be in my comments the same way they were with the previous video, where they say, oh, you don't understand what Impact is saying. You didn't listen to what he said. He said he's still going to support DC and Marvel, but we shouldn't rely on them for representation. We should just go uplift and support Black indie creators. But the thing about it is, I'm saying, no, I did hear him. We need to do both, because if we don't do both, we are not going to have both. And to disregard them is going to cause issue where we get nothing, and we are back to square one where people say Black books don't sell at the big two. And I had a conversation with Brent Sands about this, where I was like, look, you don't understand the power of your voice. If you tell people, hey, I'm going to build my own platform because I don't want to rely on DC and Marvel. I'm still going to support DC and Marvel, but I'm going to just build my own because I don't want to rely on them. People are going to just disregard DC and Marvel. People don't hear everything you're saying, and they're just going to hear you say, don't care about DC and Marvel. And that is going to mean all the progress we are making and all the uprising we're doing in frustration, they're going to hear, oh, we should just go support Black indie. And these people who are like, oh, you're just begging, that's going to emphasize it even more, because people are going to think, oh, I don't want to come off like I'm begging. I'm just going to go over here. And it's going to cause us to be back at square one, where we have nothing from DC and Marvel, even though we've made progress with DC at the very least. At the end of the day, we can do both. I'm doing my part to show these stories to you. I want you to hop on board with these different publishers, these different creatives. That way you're able to get these books in your hand. It takes time, I understand. Not everyone's got an unlimited amount of wealth, but we are making big strides. But at the same time, we need to also put our money where our mouth is. And if a publisher is going to give us what we want, we need to show up for it. Because if we don't, what was the point? What was the point? Thank you so much. Have a great day.